Okay. Um, Obviously this will only be watched by one person, but hi, Miss Christopher. Welcome to my presentation. Um, my presentation is on decision making, and for my creative little reference, we're doing strawberry shortcake because I love her, and yeah. Okay. So, this is Strawberry. She's super cute. Those are some of her little friends, but that's neither here nor there. And Strawberry has a problem. Strawberry has become really, really impulsive. Like, she's buying all the muffins in the market, she's yelling at all her friends. Like, it's just getting bad. She's making a lot of bad decisions. It actually seems like she's not making the right decisions ever, or decisions at all. She's just not doing good. This is not a good time for Strawberry. These are her friends. This is Orange Blossom and Lemon Meringue. And they're concerned. They're really concerned for Strawberry. They're like, oh my gosh, like, have you talked to Strawberry recently? And Lemon's like, yeah, she just yelled at me. Oh my gosh. And then Blueberry's like, yeah, she yelled at me too. And then she went and spent like $100 on absolutely nothing. Like, she's just not, she's going downhill. Like, what's going on with Strawberry? But they can't figure it out. Lemon Meringue, she has an entire like hair company, so she doesn't have time to like be bothered with this. And Orange Blossom has a bakery to attend to and a library, so she's too busy. So they're like, we gotta call in a specialist. And who do they call in? None other than Blueberry. Okay, Blueberry's a psychologist. You're Blueberry, by the way. She's a psychologist, and she's all like, guys, what's wrong? And so they basically tell Blueberry that Strawberry's having some really weird phases. Her decision making isn't that good, and like I said, she's being super impulsive, and just nobody can figure out why. And then Blueberry's talking to them, and she's like, guys, it sounded like she's having some cognitive issues. In fact, let's read the statement from Blueberry herself. She said that she's having an issue with her cognitive process of selecting a course of action. Girl, what? So obviously Lemon Meringue and Orange Blossom are like, girl, what are you talking about? I don't even know what that means. Okay, I just want to go make my cakes. All right, nobody knows what she's talking about. So Blueberry, being the absolute goat she is, she's gonna help us break it down. Basically, a cognitive process that helps you select a course of action is your brain's ability to make a decision. Obviously, decisions are the things that we do to choose between one or the other in our literal everyday life. There's probably not a single day that you've gone without making a decision. You choose to wake up in the morning, honestly. You choose to get up in the morning, obviously. So sometimes we are able to control our choices, but not all the time. If we're having cognitive issues, we may make impaired judgments about certain things. Everyone has different ways of making decisions. The same way, I probably don't wake up at the same time you do in the morning. We just have different decisions. I probably don't get out of bed. You might. It's just different things. And we all fall on different spectrums and different scales. Emotional, rational, and heuristic are all forms of decision making. Strawberry's struggling with all three of these, especially emotional. She's yelling at everybody. She doesn't even know why. So basically, this is very tiny text. I'm so sorry. But essentially, there are different theories that are just going to help Blueberry figure out what's wrong with Strawberry. I just skipped a slide. And sorry. And basically just figure everything out. So a couple of the different theories and biases, and there's our theories. Expected utility theory is where you assume that individuals make decisions by evaluating the expected outcomes and choosing the option with the highest perceived benefit. Basically saying, this looks like it'll work out best for me, I'm gonna do this one, which a lot of people consider to be the safest route, but not everybody has good judgment, so it's not always the truth for everybody. The prospect theory, which is suggesting that people value potential losses more than equivalent gains, leading to loss aversion in decision making. Dual process theory, which proposes two modes of thinking systems, fast and automatic and intuitive, and system two, slow, deliberate, and rational. Obviously, Strawberry's in the first one. She's not being rational. Bounded rationality is individuals making decisions within the limits of their cognitive abilities, available information, and time constraints, often leading to sacrificing rather than optimal decisions. Strawberry. There's a couple of biases as well. This text, obviously that's a lot of text, I'm going to sum it up. There's anchoring bias, which is relying too heavily on the first piece of information encountered, which is essentially your anchor. That is the one piece of information that you receive, so that is the information that you're going to stick with. It's not going to move like an anchor. There's confirmation bias, which is focusing on information that confirms pre-existing beliefs, basically saying, I have a feeling this is going to happen. And then you find out some information that may allude to that a little bit, and you're like, that's what I'm sticking with because that's what I thought it was in the first place. The availability heuristic, which is making decisions based on easily acceptable or recent information, which rather than a full analysis of the actual factors, which is basically just saying, I have a really big decision to make. I'm going to choose based off of the stuff that I already know. I don't have to look at anything else. Overconfidence bias, which is overestimating one's knowledge or abilities when making decisions. Basically, someone just thinking, yeah, I know exactly what to do. And they may not actually know what to do, but they think they do. Strawberry. The framing effect, which is the way information is presented, influences decision outcomes. And an example is whether a problem is framed as a loss or a gain. Um, Risk aversion, which is obviously the tendency to prefer avoiding losses, just basically just being cautious. You make the cautious decision every time, which works out well sometimes, but not all the time because not everything is going to be a loss per se. So, yeah. Social influence, which is obviously, well, peer pressure is a good example. People are doing something, you were more likely to make the decision to do it as well. Um, Cultural influences, which is basically the same thing as peer pressure in a sense. It's a little bit different because people you're around may not be the same culture as you. Cultural can relate to race or honestly like where you reside, and a lot of different. Oh, I'll use me as an example. I have waist beads on. Other people probably don't. I was influenced by people of my culture to wear waist beads, which that's a decision I made. Other people may not make that same decision. Um, there's ambiguity inversion and consumer behavior, and there's a couple more, but I don't want to go to the 10-minute timeline, so we're just gonna skip through that. So after explaining all of that, lemon meringue and orange blossom totally understand what blueberry's talking about, and they can definitely help strawberry now. And a couple of ways to help strawberry is number one, to sit her down. We're going to talk to her. Like, what's going on? Like, why are you feeling like this? Your decision making can be heavily impacted by many factors like mental health or certain situations that are going on, and they can affect how you make your decisions. And that might just be what's wrong with strawberry. So they're going to go figure that out. But thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I'll see you in class. Yeah.